There's been a lot of hype about what could happen with this kind of weather setup as we push towards January. This video is going to break that and give you the full no hype weather forecast. I hope that everybody's having a great and merry start to their Christmas week, and I hope that you enjoy this video. If you do, let me know down below if you enjoy this shorter type of weather content with some long-range forecasts involved. And let's go ahead and get right into that long-range forecast. First, giving you a look at the first ingredient that we're going to need to get snow as we push towards January, and that is going to be cool air. And you're like, well, where's the cool air as we finish 2024? There isn't going to be any. It's a pattern change that's going to occur right around the new year. These European ensembles are really locked in on it. This is basically a collection of models being averaged out to give you one solution. And you can see they're really indicating a big push of temperatures 15 to 25 degrees above average through especially the central United States, with a big ridge to finish off most of this year. When things are going to change, though, is as we continue to see an active storm track coming out of the northwest U.S., moving through the Rockies and then towards the central and the eastern U.S., eventually we're going to see that active storm track probably lead to a storm that has cool air coming in behind it. And that's exactly what these European ensembles are really locked in on. Look at what they're showing by the time we go around January 1st into Thursday, January 2nd. I know this is a long way out, but when you've got blues across a big chunk of the United States, that is indicating some pretty high confidence from these ensemble members, and cooldowns and warm-ups are easier to track long range in comparison to something like a specific snowstorm. Looks like a lot of the U.S. from the central to the eastern parts of the country may begin to cool down right as we kick off the new year as a result of a storm system. And what has people really interested in trying to track where snow could be as we move into January is the fact that cool air is showing up well beyond those first few days of January. And models and experts are all agreeing that we could see a continued trek of cooler air from southern Canada, moving through the north central U.S. and even towards the east coast as we go through the first couple of weeks of January, even beyond this January 6th timeframe. Let me show you how that pattern is likely to move into place using these same ensemble members, but looking up into the atmosphere. Blues indicate troughs where the jet stream is diving down. Oranges and reds indicate ridges, and you can see there's that big ridge that's going to keep things warmer than average for most, if not all, of our Christmas week and post-Christmas weekend. But this warmer than average air is having an interaction with some of these blues coming through the west. That indicates your active stormy pattern that's going to impact the central United States in the coming days. Eventually, that stormy pattern and those troughs coming into the northwest U.S. are going to kind of eat away at the ridge that's to the east. And look at what the European ensembles are showing right on time for the end of the year, pushing into our Wednesday, January 1st. A big trough entering a big chunk of the eastern United States. That's where the jet stream's diving down. So essentially, it'd be moving from being like this, where with a big ridge in the east, to going down all the way like this, which is a beginning for a favorable pattern for snowstorms. What's going to be interesting, though, is if this big trough allows for a lot of dry air to come in, because then that would kind of decrease the chance for snows to fill in across the United States. That's what's going to have to be monitored. Let me show you how we kind of get to that point, though, using these GFS ensembles. This is a different collection of ensembles, just so you can see that same shift happening. First of all, as we go through the next several days, again, a warm and active pattern. Rain with any system that comes, even as far north as the Canadian border there in the Great Lakes of the U.S. around, say, Saturday into Sunday, we might have a storm pushing out of the central United States through the Mississippi River Valley and towards the east coast. Pay attention to all of that action as a result of the troughs moving into the western U.S., though. We've got consistent rain and mountain snow on and off for the next several days in the Pacific Northwest. And eventually, some of the cool air associated with one of those systems is likely to make its way towards the central and eastern U.S., coming with one of these storm systems right around the December 31st, January 1st timeframe, I think is when that's going to happen. That could mean already a chance of snow coming out of the Rockies and maybe moving into the north central U.S. with that kind of system, but a pull of rain and probably mild conditions, very mild conditions along the east coast with this system, as we've still got warm air. Beyond this point, that's when the pattern becomes really uncertain, because as you start seeing cool air sink in, could you really even see snow? Because dry air is often associated with big cooldowns this time of the year. Nonetheless, we'll have to watch that continued transition as warm turns to cool into early January, because that's when I think the best chance for snow would be, and then it's really up in the air as to whether we have dry or wet air still in place beyond that point in time. Just to solidify that point even more, I want to go ahead and pivot on over here now so that you can see our projected temperatures into the 3 to 4 week range with our official expert guidance from the Climate Prediction Center. Look what they're showing right on cue for January 4th through January 17th. They're indicating below average conditions anywhere from the north central U.S. sinking down to the southeast. The only area warmer than average down there in the southwestern United States. And the problem, though, and this is what I've been talking about in this video, right, is whether or not we're going to see wet air or dry air. And unfortunately, the Climate Prediction Center is saying with such a strong northwest to southeast push across a majority of the U.S., that especially is going to mean below average precip. I still think we could get a snowstorm here or there, especially as this transition occurs to the cooler pattern in January, but I wouldn't say get your hopes up too much, especially considering that there are many content creators out there really trying to hype up the snow chance at a very early time, to say the least. I must say, either way, that longer range pattern is going to be fun to track, but to end this video, I do want to briefly give you an update on what I talked about in my last couple of videos with the pattern here for our near term on our Christmas week. This is a lot more certain what's going to be going on. First of all, here's your weather pattern as we go into our Christmas Eve. We'll have to watch the potential for a few stronger thunderstorms with this activity down here with a brief piece of energy into parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, and especially eastern Texas. All week long, we're going to continue to watch this flow on and off here in the Pacific Northwest. And again, this is eventually what's going to lead to that pattern change as energy comes out of here and moves east. Washington, Oregon, California, and then the mountains there, transitioning from rain up to snow as you go up in elevation. Into Christmas Day itself, most spots not even really seeing too much going on. Heavy rain and snow into a very confined area of Washington, and then the higher elevations there of that state and Oregon. And then a little bit of rain shower activity down here into the south central, maybe pushing up to the Ohio Valley regions of the U.S. So as we go to the very end of this week, when it looks like we could see some energy come out of the Rockies, making its way here into the central U.S., really getting that active transition going. Look at all these showers and storms that we could see up and down the Mississippi Valley by the time we got to Thursday night into Friday. The southern end of these storms could even be on that feistier side, but I wouldn't worry about severe weather once you get north of Missouri and Illinois in particular. Everything strong to severe will be probably isolated and confined down there to a place like Arkansas, Louisiana, and surrounding states. And then from there, again, eventually we enter that transition where we could begin to see some snow chances coming out of the north central U.S. and then sinking south with cool air, beginning to enter the pattern heading towards the end of the year and into the new year. With that being said, that is all I have for this 7-minute update video. I really appreciate you tuning in, and I would even more appreciate some feedback down below on how you like this shorter kind of content. Was it still easy to understand despite the shorter length? I know there's going to be some people mad that I didn't, specifically pinpoint a zone that's going to get some snow as we go into January, but the honest thing is, time will tell. I'll keep you updated as we go into the future. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button down below so you never miss the consistent, accurate, and educational updates I try to deliver without the clickbait and all the hype. I'll see you in the next update, but for now, Merry Christmas everyone, and until next time.
One Nation Weather.
Thank you for making it to the end of the video and to this quick sponsored message for you to check out the awesome weather model maps that I use from Weatherbell. They help me make my thumbnails. They help me with everything that I do as I make my videos and analyze weather models. Make sure you're checking out the free trial link just like you're seeing on screen. It's down in the description to this video.
One Nation Weather.